In this week's episode of the Console Room, we will be talking about one of the most divisive episodes of Doctor Who in Doctor Who history. Also, we will be talking about some of the enemies that were very weird, and of course, the companions that they used for sexual titillation. I am Joe Dove, and with me is your host, Console Room, Ernesto. What's going on, brother?
Oh God, this was. Whew.
Like, was it me or was he trying to play the Joker? Like, was he auditioning for the Joker almost in this one?
Oh man, this was. Want to talk about not aging well? If you look up "not aging well" in the doctor's library, there's this episode. Okay. Oh well, folks, Time Lords, Time Ladies, welcome to the Console Room. Are we live? Yes, we are.
Indeed.
And if you get that reference, let me know in the comments.
There you go.
Tonight we are talking about a rather aptly named title, The Twin Dilemma. Written by Anthony Stephen, directed by Peter Moffat. No relation.
I was just going to ask you.
Nope. No, I checked. Apparently Moffat is a fairly common English name.
Wow.
Yeah. The first episode aired. Remember, folks, the older episodes are broken down. Each story is broken down into 4 individual episodes of about 23 minutes each.
Ugh.
The first one aired on 22 March, 1984. Joe, that's older than you.
No, it isn't. I'm older than that.
Okay. Well, you look great. So,
thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of people think I'm younger than I am.
Well, with that being said, let's roll that doctor footage.
Ah, yes. Time to get into Doctor Who.
Doctor Who?
Doctor Who? Doctor Who? Doctor Who?
Fellas, you're never going to stop asking.
Yes, the 6th Doctor, Colin Baker, no relation to Tom, has hair similar to mine when I let mine grow out. But
you should definitely do that for Trek Long Island.
No, I will not. In the summertime, you do not get anywhere near that. This is you're getting pure, like short hair.
I'm sorry, folks. Trek has been on my mind since the other day. I meant Doctor Who Long Island, where 2 of the cast featured in this episode will be appearing this summer. So let's get into it. Colin Baker, born 8 June 1943, studied law at
he looks like a lawyer.
Beatty's College in Manchester. He received A-levels in French, Latin, and Greek.
Smart
he
guy.
went on. I mean, his educational pedigree is phenomenal. He went on to study law at London College and was training to be a solicitor, which is the English term for lawyer. It was only at age 23 that he entered the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art.
Wow.
Yeah. He had very quick success afterwards. His first role was as Count Steinbeck in The Roads to Freedom, opposite a very young Dame Helen Mirren.
Oh, I know her.
Everybody knows Helen Mirren. Incredibly beautiful woman throughout her life. Took some great roles and some not so great roles.
Looking at you, Shazam.
I was thinking Caligula, but
Caligula was no. I'm thinking of I Claudius. Never mind.
Oh no, I Claudius was amazing. In fact, again, just because everything goes back to Star Trek, Sir Patrick Stewart was one of his first TV jobs.
Yes, and going back to Doctor Who played Claudius? The Master, Derek Jacobi, from the Tennant years. Yeah.
Yes.
which I loved his version of the Master. He was great.
Yeah, he was a transitional master,
Right.
but I would have liked to have kept him around for more than a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Let's see. Again, he also did the BBC adaptation of War and Peace opposite Sir Anthony Hopkins. So
Wow.
he has worked
He's
with
been
some.
around with some heavyweights, man.
Yeah,
He's no joke.
absolutely.
And
He
he's got,
was in
I would
Blade
say for
7.
certain he's got the worst doctor's suit ever.
Well, the suit. We'll get into that in a little bit because there's um, because this episode itself was so
Bizarre.
difficult to get through. I did a lot of research while I was supposed to be watching the episode. Oof, Maron.
Yeah, homeboy
Okay.
like straight up decides, you know what, I'm gonna choke this bitch. Like he just went and started to.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, is he choking the companion? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Now remember, I mean, we'll get into this when we're talking companions, but Perry is a fairly new companion.
Right.
She's only been in 2 stories with Peter Davison before she sees him, become this lunatic.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, with no preparation, with no warning, with no understanding of what a regeneration is, she was pretty calm. I mean, look, forgetting that we're, science fiction fans, if, okay, we go off with some guy in, in some madman in a box, which is bigger on the inside than he is in the out. And all of a sudden, and he's taking us through time and space, and it's wonderful and it's amazing. And all of a sudden he literally changes his entire face.
Yeah.
Even after all the adventures that we've been on so far, it would tend to freak you out a little bit. I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially going from the young, handsome, and she even says it, you were young, you were handsome, to this. Not saying that Colin Baker is not a handsome man. He's got very piercing blue eyes, and he was, trim, fairly young in his, what was it, 40? Yeah, it was about 41 at the time. So, young, thin, that, mane of curly hair. So not an unattractive man.
No.
But obviously not as handsome as the Doctor which is what I believe. There's Miss Bryant herself, Purple Gillian Brown. We will get into her in a little bit. But this Doctor, he starts off.
Well, he doesn't sleep like all the other ones. Like,
yeah, no, he just bolts right in, which I think actually leads to being screwy. He goes from this pomposity and arrogance to a hysteria where he's actually curled up in a rack of clothes crying.
Right.
It's a little weird. He goes on to in the wardrobe room. He goes on to show Perry the fur coat that the second Doctor wore. He puts on the velvet smoking jacket that the third Doctor made famous, and then just before we cut scene, we see him pick up a coat, and his eyes just light up. And in the beginning, you get that little, that his face in the opening credits, and you can kind of get an idea. And even in '84, I'm sure there were stories and magazines and photo shoots showing exactly what he'll be wearing, or maybe it was just a complete surprise to everyone. And I could only imagine in 1984, color TV was still considered a luxury in a lot of homes. I know it was in my house.
Mm-mm.
So we could only imagine what it was like in the UK. Could you imagine getting a color TV for the grand new episode of Doctor Who? And what do you see but that suit?
Well, I mean, you get color.
Well, that's the thing. How many Englishmen are probably, what's wrong with the bloody thing?
Yeah.
Banging on the set. because
so
that
colorful.
can't be right. It can't be right. There's no. It doesn't even make sense visually.
Yeah.
The producer of not Tom Baker, the
Colin
producer
Baker.
John Nathan Turner. Actually, he started. John Nathan Turner started, I believe, the last year of Tom Baker, throughout the Peter Davison years and throughout the Colin Baker years. Yeah, he wanted this character. He wanted this doctor to look, to be, to have a very commanding presence, which Colin Baker is a good enough actor that he could pull that off, but he wanted him to look ridiculous at the same time. It did not work. It really, really did not work. One last thing about Colin Baker: he made his first Doctor Who appearance as Commander Maxwell in a Peter Davison episode, Peter Davison storyline, excuse me, Arc of Infinity, in the 20th season on January 3rd through the 12th. So he was one of those actors who played a small part
And became the
in
Doctor.
one episode and became the Doctor, like Peter Capaldi did, and like other actors and actresses who became companions and so on. But he was the first. Actually, Joe, you found out that it was not. He was not the first. That the actor who played Wilfred Mott was actually the first. Way back when.
Way back when. I think the second.
Way back when.
Shall we get
we
into
do
the
have
companion?
Yeah, well, that's what she's here for, obviously. So, yeah.
See, I met this person and I got whooshed away across all space and time. I mean, I had the most amazing adventures, really. I mean, you wait till you hear, because I'm going to tell you them all.
Yes.
Perpa Gilliam Brown, also known as Perry, played by Nicola Bryant, 11 October 1960.
She was very young during this.
Very young. She was 24. But then again, when you look at Billy Piper and Karen Gilliam, they were 19 and 20. Even Clara, who was in her early 20s. So yeah, but this was, I believe, the first time that the producer, the showrunner of Doctor Who came right out and said it. And I have a quote from John Nathan Turner. She'll often be wearing leotards and bikinis. A lot of dads watch Doctor Who. I'm sure they will like Nicola.
Damn.
So let's just come right out and say it. Nicola Bryant was there for TNA purposes solely. She was there just for, I mean, obviously she's a very attractive woman. This was her episode. This is the second time you see her on screen in her premiere episode, Planet of Fire. She's wearing this itty bitty bikini. And
the time where bikinis weren't that itty bitty. So
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it's, in comparison to 40 years later, but leotards, cleavage all over the place.
Yeah.
She was there specifically for. She was the Jerry Ryan in Voyager 10 years before Jerry Ryan in Voyager.
Yeah.
I
think 20 years before.
20. No.
Because it was Voyager was in the 90s. This was in the 80s.
So call it 15 years.
Okay. We'll meet you in the middle.
Yeah. I mean,
but as far as her character overall, I mean, you spent time with her in one of your favorite doctors, and then you spent time with this doctor who, as the show went on, he gets better. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he would have to, because he was so abrasive.
Right.
I guess you can kind of chalk it up to, he was regenerated, so just getting used to. But I mean, just very abrasive.
Yeah.
you know, rewatching the Peter Capaldi first episodes. Peter Capaldi was meant to be a curmudgeon,
Right.
but
But he wasn't abrasive.
no, he wasn't cruel.
No.
He may have been obnoxious. And again, you know, our favorite line: "This is my Clara. She cares, so I don't have to."
This is my caretaker. She cares, so I don't have to.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
I absolutely
Um,
love that line. I think it's one of the
but
best
in
ones ever
this
written.
one, I mean, he's literally insulting everyone.
Yeah.
You can see why this storyline has the reputation that it does. A little bit more about the casting of Nicola Bryant. John Nathan Turner wanted an American for the role.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. In the book, the Doctor Who, the Companions, and elsewhere, it's been said that his intention was to pump up the sexual appeal of the aging series with a young actress. She's often seen in low-cut outfits on the show. Her character was American for a while, with publicity-driven fiction maintained, suggesting that Nicola Bryant was actually American. She's not.
Nope.
No, she is English, and the entire time, no one knew that she was actually English. She had to maintain this not very good American accent on set, in production, post production, and whenever they did interviews. She had to maintain this lie for John Nathan Turner. When you
I hope they
combine
paid her
that,
handsomely.
yeah. When you combine that with the little outfits that she's wearing, by the way, we just saw that little bikini that she wore in Planet of Fire. It was appropriate for some parts of the shoot, which were on location in the Mediterranean, but then in a later outside shot that was done in Britain in the winter, Miss Bryant actually got frostbite and pneumonia because she's wearing a
Jeez.
bikini, short shorts, and a tie in the front top.
Wow. What you do
Yeah.
for your craft, I tell you.
Again, 1983.
Different world.
Yeah, different world, different time, different mentality.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
Yeah.
on a list of companions, where does she rank for you?
That depends on how you're ranking. If you're ranking overall, who would I want to be in the TARDIS
Yes.
with?
Yes.
I see. Probably right around Jamie, because at least me and Jamie can swap kilts.
Wow.
She's. Now, if you want to go for, again, what the showrunner hired her for, as far as TNA goes, I mean, she's very high on the list
Mm-hmm.
because obviously, beautiful woman, still is, by the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I looked her up. She still looks the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, 64 and still looks fantastic. Definitely
Stunning.
looking forward to meeting her at Doctor Who Long Island.
Oh wow, yeah, definitely.
Yes, both her and Colin Baker will be there. A plug for Who Long Island.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, so yes, gorgeous woman. I was never
So
really
we
one
were
for
talking about
brunettes,
Star Trek
but
connections, right? Did you know that she actually was a character in Star Trek Continues?
Yes, she was. She was
Yes.
in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't remember that did come up when I was doing my research instead of watching this turd of an episode. Oh, did I say that out loud? Remind me not to say that to Colin Baker when I
Oh
meet
yeah,
him.
of course not.
But yes, she played a character in Star Trek Continues. I believe she was in 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
When I was watching it, I was actually throwing like, Perry Gilliam, poor
Yep.
pusillanimous Perry.
Yes.
And okay, and did anyone else notice the rhyming, which was cute for about a minute?
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I'm sorry, Colin, but yeah, this is it's not a very easy episode to sit through. Uh, we have the twins, played by Gavin and Andrew Conrad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I think they were kidnapped to do some math. From what I could get, from the story that was all over the place. Uh, Abducted by this guy Edgeworth and a couple of bird people, who we don't even hear their species.
Nope.
They went so far to and again 84 on a shoestring budget. They were able to do that makeup, which wasn't bad
No, and it
for the
stayed
time.
on.
It
Yeah.
stayed on.
Yeah.
There was no smudging.
Nope.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
Some of the effects were even fairly impressive. Um, that being said, could it save the episode?
No.
Sadly, no. And
Nope.
since we're discussing them, let's talk enemies.
Well, right before we do that,
Sure.
another fun fact. Guess who? You talked about it a minute ago. Guess who she was almost cast as in the 90s?
Nicola Bryant, who was she almost cast as?
Catherine Janeway.
No.
Yes.
I shall now kill you, Doctor.
Yeah. Drop that and then
Knock
roll.
me over. Yeah, knock me over with a Cyberman. That was that one I did not know. I know that there was a French actress who actually
Right.
did,
She got the role initially,
right,
and then just didn't want to do it, and then they replaced her with Kate Mulgrew. But
yeah.
she auditioned for the role and
Mm.
was almost.
That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any of Nicola's any of her other work, so I can only judge the performance that she would have given as Janeway by the episodes that I've seen of her.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know how far she made in the auditions.
She was considered for the role.
Wow, really?
Yeah, she made it pretty far.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's that is definitely saying a lot. There's an episode idea for the Captain's Quadrant. Finding
Almost
who was
the almost captains.
the almost crew.
Yeah.
Before we get on to this, the one that always struck me was that Yaphet Kotto was, I think, like third
Early
choice
consensus. Yeah,
for Picard.
For
Next
Picard.
Generation. Yes, for Picard.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yaphet Kotto.
That's good. I didn't know that one.
Yaphet Kotto, Patrick Stewart, and I forget who the third person or the third actor was, but it was those. They were the last three.
Wow. I know it was. I was shocked to find that Carl Weathers was considered for Cisco.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been very cool.
I mean, Avery Brooks was.
Yeah,
Avery Brooks
he
was a
was
much better
Cisco.
actor. Yeah, he is, always has been, always will be. He was, even though his feelings about Star Trek in general don't mesh with many of the other actors, and respect to him, he's a polished enough thespian in his own right that he can have that opinion and no one thinks anything of him. I actually became fairly friendly with Sirach Lofton on the last two Star Trek cruises, Star Trek Las Vegas as well. And Sirach's a great guy. All props to him. And when we first met him, hello, shook his hand. So good to see you. Welcome. So glad that they got you on the cruise. And of course, like everyone else, I'm sure he's probably sick of hearing it. But I asked him, how's Avery doing? Tell him that, just next time you talk to him, just give him the love of 3,000 people who wish he was here.
Yeah.
He's like, I know, man. He goes, I tried to convince him to come. I was like, no, he's busy. He's a professor now.
Yeah, that's right. I was just gonna say he's a professor. Yeah.
At Rutgers.
Yeah, no less.
In Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, I should go visit. Well,
Yeah, good luck with
that. Get him out. But yeah, so the villains of this episode were these.
Yeah, getting back to Doctor Who, these guys
guy.
Mesto.
And they ripped up all the nutrients of the planet and left it a barren planet. So,
kind of a metaphor for, they're supposed to be slug-like. So a metaphor for locusts coming in and destroying the habitat. The part of Ellsworth, Asmiel, played by Maurice Denham, a fellow Time Lord. I mean,
it's his shoulder.
Time Lords always know each other, whether it's a psychic link, whether it's they hear the two hearts. That has been from time immemorial. If they wanted to make this guy a Time Lord, then they should have stuck to, and it's not like John Nathan Turner was new on the show. He knew enough of the lore to know that every Time Lord knows each other despite regeneration.
Right.
So I did not feel any kinship. There was no chemistry whatsoever between the two actors. The best thing that I could say is the makeup on the bird dudes was great. That's honestly, I think that is the best praise that I could give to this episode.
Yeah. And the Time Lord sacrificed his regeneration to save everybody. And the Sixth Doctor took the twins back home to their planet. That's how memorable this episode. We were like, there we go. So
the last line of it, going back to that whole pomposity and arrogance and condescension of this Doctor. I am the Doctor, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Really, Karen?
Yeah,
really Karen?
He went in there.
And so I'm trying to imagine what the fans in '84 were thinking when they saw this. I may not be able to tell you exactly what they were thinking, but I can tell you, thanks to Wikipedia, the first episode, part 1 of The Twin Dilemma, aired 22 March 1984 in the UK to 7.6 million viewers. It's pretty respectful. First episode for a new Doctor. And again, each episode was 23 minutes in length, and they did something different this time. They aired 2 a week. Why? I don't know. They didn't say. The second episode was watched by 7.4 million. The third on 29 March 84 was by 7 million.
Kept going down.
And then the last episode of this storyline, only 6.3 million UK.
Yeah, just kept getting lower and lower.
People,
to the point, I think his run, he got a pause in the middle of it, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. I did not look deeply into why there was a pause, but there was a 6-month, I believe, hiatus in between. It may have been a writer's strike. I'm not sure. And the BBC may have been leery about renewing it. But we're not 100% sure. Yet another thing that I did instead of actually watching this episode, which I should have done, but it just couldn't. It had it on the TV, and I'm saying that I'm doing research. I was really doing research. I researched the IMDb scores for all 15 first episode. Since we have been doing here in the console room, we have been doing every first episode of every Doctor. I thought, hey, let me see what the IMDb rating for each individual Doctor is. The real reason is I wanted to see exactly what IMDb rated this shit sandwich.
Mm.
And we are not
Turd burger.
Yeah. This, according to IMDb, this storyline receives a rating of 5.3.
Mm.
Uh,
And that's out of 10, in case you're
comparison,
wondering.
and
Not
that's out of 10.
yeah.
Via comparison, the next lowest score was the Eighth Doctor, which is the TV movie that everyone seems to have problems with. That one was rated a 6.3.
Wow.
On IMDb. So that alone should tell you. Colin
Tough
Baker.
times.
And Colin Baker was only the Doctor for 2 years.
Yes, he had the shortest time.
Yeah, the shortest time. And with these numbers, now, from what we read, from what you and I have even talked about on Cam and Not, Colin Baker. The stories, the writing on some of these Doctor's episodes are actually really, really good.
Yeah, it picks up.
There was one great episode where I don't think that there was any particular occasion for it, but there was a great episode called The Two Doctors where Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, and Colin Baker, the sixth Doctor, for somehow or another, they end up on an adventure together. This is usually usually kept for special occasions. The 10th anniversary with the 3 Doctors, the 20th anniversary with the 5 Doctors, Power of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary. Usually you only get these combinations of Doctors for big stories. Right. I don't know what, if anything, there was an anniversary for them to do the 2 Doctors, unless it was just, okay, we need some ratings.
Yeah.
Who's available? Tom still isn't speaking to us. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Patrick will do it. Okay, let's get Patrick in on this. So that was actually a really, really good episode. There was some issues with it, but I mean, much better than this.
Yeah.
Trial of the Time Lord. The last storyline with Colin Baker, where Terry leaves and
there's like the Vaishnavara or something like that. There's like a thing that they mention.
Yes. I don't remember. I didn't take any notes on it. I've actually just been watching it just to watch it. But it's a 12 episode
arc.
Yeah, so 12 episodes of 24 minutes each. So that's like a 4-hour story.
Yeah.
And when you're binging it, it makes it even a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
So, oof. But the story itself was pretty interesting, but just so much filler.
Yeah, I mean that's the sign of the times.
Yeah,
so
it really
was back in the day. Yeah, they had a nice tank.
Yeah, luckily Russell T Davies decided, took a page from the Americans and said, no, let's just make this a 1 hour. No, we don't need this 4-episode thing. Let's just make it 1 hour, short, sweet, to the point. Give him a good punch. Throw some decent special effects at him, and here we are today.
Yeah.
20 years after the fact.
I just wanted to mention, do you think this is a rejected Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles costume?
That might well have been.
It was just like, why does it look like it was a shell? Like, so weird.
The BBC is notorious for reusing costumes.
You never know.
In fact, Bosk. I think I mentioned this before on the podcast.
Yes.
Bosk from Empire Strikes Back, the bounty hunter, the lizard bounty hunter in the yellow spacesuit.
Yep.
That yellow spacesuit actually made its debut in an episode of Doctor Who,
There it is. There it is. Well, that is
along
going to
with a
wrap
couple
it
of
up.
others.
Yeah, that is going to wrap it up for this week of the console room. We made it together, Ernesto. We did it. We got through one of
Are
the
we
toughest.
live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've got to say hello to our friends over at AJ Orsini's Uncensored Minds, and a lot of stuff talking about there because we've got all the wrestling that's going on leading up to the road to WrestleMania. We got a lot of fun things going on there. Be sure to go listen to AJ Orsini wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to go check out our friends and ladies, the Sci-Fi Queens, every other Friday at 8 p.m. You can check them out, and they're having a lot of fun. And we have breaking news for the Captain's Quadrant. If you didn't know, we're moving to Fridays. Yes. VHS Jace is returning. We'll be on Fridays at 9 p.m. Want to make sure we give space to the Sci-Fi Queens. Fridays at 9 p.m. We are back in the Agony booth. We're going to be talking about Under the Cloak of War with the background actor who was in that episode. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If you missed,
Really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it should be fun. If you missed the Argyle the 1 week later, that is available to listen to and watch right now on this channel. And that is it for this week. Ernesto, anything you want to part ways with?
I would actually love to have a conversation with your buddy. I have not followed wrestling in quite some time, other than just a occasional glance or whatever they have on TikTok. But one of the things that I've always loved about pro wrestling is the belts.
Oh, I love the belts. I actually helped get. So I used to be a financial supporter to Capital, which is now Catalyst Wrestling, and I actually helped get their belt made. And
Nice.
there's a picture of me wearing it somewhere.
Very
So,
nice. Very
and
nice.
it is a really dope belt. So I wish they would have let me keep it. It's like, I paid for it. Let me keep it. Yeah.
Well,
I'd
I'd love to hear your friend's opinion on the new world. I think that the world titles that I think Seth Rollins, is it Seth Rollins?
New world champion that
The
Seth
new
Rollins
world,
had.
yeah. It looks like it looks like they slapped a sticker on Flair's old belt.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hit him up on Spotify because that's you can
will.
comment. You hit him up, and then he'll probably mention an episode. He's a cool dude like that.
Wow. Yeah.
So next week, are we doing? We got 3 more.
Yeah, we have.
Do you want to do Tom? You want to do Sylvester, or do you want to do Patrick Troughton? Because we can't do the original, right? That's not available.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. There's some rights issues with an unearthly child.
Yeah.
So that is not readily available in the UK, in the US. However, another one that is not available to stream in the US, but I have the DVD, and I believe you do as well.
You
want to do the Doctor Who? You want the TV movie?
Oh yeah, we can do that one. Throw a little curveball. Do
I think that might cleanse our palates a little bit after slogging through these 4 episodes, these long 4 episode story arcs.
All right, so join us next week for
the Doctor Who TV movie starring Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor.
Yes. All right. Until next week. Take care, everybody. Let's put up the Vulcan symbol. Like, wrong show, pal.